For those of you that haven't met me, I'm Brian. I work full time with the club. I coach our under 19s, under 17s boys, and then I coach our 04, so the U15 girls the spring, and then I take care of our try and take care of our players in terms of the college recruitment process. So thank you all for coming out to this portion of camp.
How much of an impact do your academic accomplishments have on the coaching process, if any?
I think it's a huge factor. I think for us, and I'm sure everyone here, we want high achievers in not just the soccer field. We want high achievers in the academic field. We want great people. And by having a good GPA, good ACT scores, that shows us that you're willing to work. You're willing to work hard in one area. So I think everything's all incumbent. So if your GPA is good, it shows us something pretty significant as far as I'm concerned.
It's a great question, and for anybody, all of you out there, that's your number one priority. You go to college for an education. That's your number one priority. If you come into me, my first question is that I'm going to ask you is what do you want to do in 5 years? What's your goal? And then you've got to find if that school can help you on the way. And the thing that I say to our guys is that we could have a national championship team through here. That's great. Go put it on your resume and go for a business interview. See what happens. Great, you won a national championship. Tell me about your experience in business. I don't have any, I won a national championship. It's not going to do you any good. So the main priority is academics. And we pay close attention, yes, for eligibility, but you've got to get coaches who want to see you achieve what you want to achieve in life. Soccer's a good part of it. It's a very important part of it. But if we just get people in for soccer and we don't graduate kids, that's going to be an issue.
And to kind of follow up twofold, one is you do have to realize that in college there are still academic requirements that have to be met. So you do need to understand that aspect of it. But to follow up on what my answer was as well is that, you know, if you go and you look at a school that does stack, then that makes a big difference because my total package that I can offer will vary depending on what your academics are when you graduate. So if you're a high academic kid, my package to you is going to be a lot higher, so it makes a big difference.
I think for us, being Division 1, winning's very important. Sometimes your job relies on it. So in terms of soccer, it's a huge requirement. It's a huge requirement. We train from 9 to 11 in the morning. Our guys don't start classes until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they'll block their classes how they want. In terms of, Danny touched on the travel aspect, we travel a lot, so it's really on our guys to be managing their own time in a way and staying on top of things. And we have certain aspects that can help that. Bree Hicken is an academic advisor for us, just our team. So if our boys have any issues, of course they can come to us, but she helps schedule them, she helps with tutoring, with advisement, so she's their go-to for us. And I know some schools don't have that, we're extremely lucky in that sense. But soccer's a huge requirement, but I mean, coach has touched upon the fact that you're there for an education, and that doesn't change no matter what level you're at. We have a cumulative GPA of 3.46, which was our highest ever this year. So in terms of that, really I'd say the biggest thing is that time management of yourself. And I guess that's part of maturing, and you see some freshmen struggle through that. But as you go on, whether it's a 9-hour bus trip to Central Arkansas, you know, you've got so much time there that you could be doing things instead of watching Netflix, playing computer games. So I think it's just that aspect, but it's a huge time commitment no matter what level you're at.
I would say, you know, I'm going to touch on what you said with us, is that obviously the student athlete, the student part comes first, and we've had an issue a couple of times. I've just took over the programme, I'm almost a year in the programme, we've had a couple of guys that haven't put that student part first, and they've found themselves ineligible. So what happens through NCAA or through our school is, if you become ineligible because you're not keeping up your grades or not going to class or not keeping the grades you're supposed to be keeping, you then are you then lose that part that you love so much, that competitive part. So I've put a huge emphasis on the academic side of my programme, and that's going to be a process. So to go back to the question a little bit, the 2 seasons you have in college soccer, your fall season, your competitive season is busy. It's extremely busy. It's a tough environment because you're playing a lot of games, you're training, you've got classes, you're travelling. So as a coach of our programme, it's important that I create an environment where we're finding that balance. So we're creating that culture where the student athlete part is very important, and we set the guys up for some success. So I know you guys train in the morning. That's something that I've introduced in Marcel's, where at least 2 days of the week in our season we train in the morning, so the guys can then go to class the rest of the day, and then they have the afternoon and the evening that they can kind of devote to their studies, so they can make sure that they can get caught up on some work they might be missing. They can study for exams they might have that week, they can catch up or get ahead on some work, especially during the season. So again, for me it's very, very important. I want to keep guys on the field, but at the same time I want guys on the path to graduation, staying in school and hopefully graduating and moving on after 4 years of that degree, because that's, again, like Rich said, that's why they're here. So huge emphasis on that side of things from me. We want to win games, we want to do well in the programme, but we also want to have guys that are excelling in the classroom and becoming good people as well.
I mean, we talk about culture, we talk about what your team's about, and so we sit down at the beginning of every year and we talk about what is this team going to be about, because every year you graduate kids, new kids come in, whether it's one new addition or one left, it's still a new group every year. So we sit down and we say, what do you guys want to be known for, what do you guys want to do, and academics are always something that come up, and so we allow to some extent our players to set goals and expectations for the team, so it's, we're not setting a goal way up here, but it's, for this year it was 3.0, so everybody needs to carry a 3.0 throughout the year. We're trying to put everybody in the best possible way to succeed, but I know both these guys said it's up to you. If you want to fail, you can fail. If you want to pass, you can pass. It really is, and so we're here to help set up and say, here, this is what you need to succeed. If you take it, great. If you want to leave it behind, I mean, you can't force anybody to pass class. But I think just creating a culture, it's an expectation, and then it's not a chasing it up on the back end. It's just effort. Like I said, we talk about, if you've got a kid that has a 4.0 GPA and a kid that's got a 2.0 GPA, and they're the same soccer player, who are you going to take?
Division 3, you're limited as a program where a coach can actually be involved with the trainings. You're limited to 5 weeks. Within those 5 weeks, you can have maximum 15 dates of practice and 1 date of competition. We're already going about 5 days a week, 2 hours of training, and like 3 days of lifting. So it's an important question whenever you are talking with the school seriously, what is the time commitment going to look like? To ask specifically what it looks like for this program, because even within the divisions, you're going to find programs that kind of squeeze every last minute out of what's allowed by the NCAA, and you're going to find some who really don't do anything in the spring.
So when you go, you can look and you can qualify for a certain amount of academic financial aid as well. And then we can start stacking and looking at that and whatever else you qualify for and combine all of that. It's not just the soccer scholarship. And then, some schools will vary on how they do that. So that's one of the questions you'll want to ask when you go look somewhere.
I think getting your kid on campus at schools is the best way, and I mean it could mean a bit of travelling or whatever, trying to figure out what the best options are. And one thing I think from any players in here, when you go to a school, you need to understand as a freshman, are you going to come into a school and play as a freshman, or are you going to come in and it might take your sophomore year to break in and maybe be a first team player? And if you're okay with that, that's great. Okay, but that's something, as you're saying, as a junior, that kid needs to decide in terms of what kind of school they want to go to, because a lot of kids hold out wanting D1, and then maybe they kind of leave themselves a bit stuck. You might go to a D1 program, but you might ride the bench for 4 years. So you need to figure out in terms of location, all the stuff the guys have talked about, but also what you want as a player. But I think getting them on campus, getting them talking to coaches, going to camps, like highlight videos like they already talked about, that's your best way. We can watch as many videos as we want, or many highlight reels, but seeing a kid in person, seeing how they interact with the team. At Carson Newman, we'll get a lot of feedback from our players. Sometimes like, she didn't really try and mix with us, she didn't want to talk, or so their opinion is something that matters to us too. So my best advice is getting the kids on campus and getting on a visit or a camp, whatever it is. And so the coaches then, like I can look at lists now and I'll know a kid's name, and once I see them I'll remember, oh, we had you at camp or whatever, and it's a lot easier to recognize kids and stuff like that then as well. So that would be my best piece of advice in terms of a junior trying to find the right fit for them right now. You have to be realistic as well in terms of if you really like a school, or your parents love a school because they went there or whatever, and if you could get shot down 6-7 times before you find the right, and you might like a school and you go there and you train, you might like the coach, you might like the players, whatever it is. You have to be open-minded to getting shot down, to getting rejected, until you find what is the right fit for you. And everything has to come into that in terms of what you want as playing time, because a lot of kids will go to schools, doesn't matter what level it's at, and they'll think they're going to play as a freshman, and they might come on in their junior and senior year and just absolutely destroy it, but they have to earn their time sometimes, and you have to be open-minded just to all those different situations that you can find yourself in as a freshman.
I personally, and maybe this is so that I keep my job, I feel like what those internet recruiting services do for you, I can do from my laptop. And for those guys, there's nobody here, I don't think, in my U19 group. There's not. Mr. DeRusha is a father of a young man who plays on my U19 team, and I hope Bob agrees with this, but I will go to bat individually, especially once I can truly know a player, trust a player and a person. I will pick up the phone and call college coaches and get on my email and email college coaches and say, please come and watch this player play.
My personal opinion on them, I think they're just a middleman. I think they would stockpile a lot of kids to say they're going to find them somewhere, and yes, they'll put their name out there, but at the end of the day, my advice would be just be proactive. Get yourself a list of schools you're interested in, reach out to coaches, get yourself a highlight video, use Mr. McBride here, he can help you, and my biggest advice would just be proactive.
Yeah, everything that they're doing, you guys can do yourselves, like Ross said. Everyone films games. All parents probably have access to footage that they can put together some kind of film for their kids. And again, like Ross said, reach out to the schools you're interested in. Reach out to schools that you might think you're interested in. Send your clip, and more than likely the coach will be in touch. And from that point on, each one of us does things differently. You might get a camp invite, you might try and get on campus. Again, put yourselves out there. Put yourselves out there, and don't necessarily rely on a company that's taking whatever it might be, 200, 500, whatever. Again, you can do the most part of that yourself.
I think there might be some value in some of those services that can actually edit your footage for you. So you come out and you film a game. You one might not be a soccer professional that knows properly how to film a game, or two, you might not be a software specialist that knows how to edit a game. The Real Stallion in our club does have a service that does that, and then there are several outside services that do that full-time and professional, and paying 300, 400, 500 bucks to, especially in your sophomore or junior year, to create a very, very good 5-minute highlight video increases your chances of some of these guys going, hey, I'm going to go out and watch them because their highlight video looked really good. Does that make sense?
It does.
I think each division might say something a bit differently, but from an NCAA Division 1 point of view.
And gender too, right, Martin?
Yeah, that's another point, yeah. From a NCAA Division 1 female standpoint, I'd say freshman, sophomore, anything after that, you're kind of late in the game. Sounds crazy, but that's the way recruiting is for the level we're at. Before this, I used to work NAIA, so that's completely different, and I'm sure those guys can talk on that as well. But as early as possible, you start reaching out and start putting your name out there, the better you're going to be.
I would follow that up by saying again, like some of these guys over here, Division 2, NAIA, and then especially on the men's side, I would say you could knock that back to at least the junior year, probably the spring of your junior year or summer of your junior year, the summer before your junior year, and then your junior year and senior year, because the dynamics of recruitment is different in the men's game. They have lots of international players, a large portion of international players who they might not recruit until the winter prior to that fall season. So,
and for each program up here, things change between one year to the next in the recruiting kind of spectrum. So I said early as possible, but it's never too late. Club coaches like Danny are really important, because most of the correspondence we have to younger student athletes go through the club coaches. So we'll send Danny an email, call him, have a chat about a player, and he'll pass that information on. So there's ways to communicate, just not kind of one-on-one. That being said, at any point you guys can call us and we can answer the phone.
it's a weirdest rule, isn't it? It doesn't make any sense. So if
Yeah.
you are in 8th grade and you call Coach Martin and he answers the phone, you can be in an hour-long discussion with him. He just cannot call you.
Parents, stay out of the process.
That's a good point.
Biggest pet peeve for myself. If I get reached out by a parent or phone called by a parent, I ask, what position do you play? they say I don't play. I says, okay, click, hang on. I say, I speak to your kid, because they need to have the initiative to reach out to us, because at the end of the day, you're going to turn them over to us. We want to make sure they're self-sufficient when they come into our university. So,
Until it comes to
as
finances.
a recommendation.
Until it comes to finances.
Yeah, but the quote-unquote courting process of going to a school needs to be done by the student athlete themselves, not by the parents.
I think it goes back to, well, we've got to be proactive. A couple of coaches here have said that word, and it's important. If you want to play in college, if you want to move on and play in programs, it's not just going to happen by you just saying, I want to play college soccer. There's a lot of work, just like having a good GPA, just like being a good soccer player, improving as a soccer player. Like, to get to that next level, you have to put in the work, and it's not mum and dad doing all the work. It's you researching schools, reaching out to coaches, putting emails together, getting footage together, following up with coaches, all that kind of thing as well. So it's on you guys. We can only take you so, or your parents can only take you so far. You've got to do a lot of that grunt work as well, and get yourself out there and get yourself in front of coaches, and obviously parents, you guys will be taking a lot of these players to campus and to different camps and things like that. But if the players are putting the work in, I think you guys would be a lot more willing to do that as well. So the biggest thing for me is being proactive. It doesn't just happen. It's a process. You've got to work hard at it.
The communication between you and your son or your daughter is the most important thing. I mean, in a junior year, you probably need to be saying, okay, what do you want to do? And I'm talking as a parent to my girls. And sit down and get a ballpark figure. You all know college costs money, and for most of the people in the room, I should imagine your generation of parents probably didn't prepare for college, just as my parents did not prepare for college. These guys are lucky, because now we came from Virginia, got the 529, and you can put money towards your college, your son and daughter's college education. And so there's some money there, and you've got to have the discussion of money. And if you talk about it with them and say, okay, this is what we can afford to put you to college. Anything else above that is what you're going to have to take out in student loans. And for you athletes here, student loans are a reality. A reality. If we sit down with my players right now, I can probably say most of them have around, coming out of the school, some of them will have $50,000 worth of debt. Some of them will have $20,000 worth of debt. Some of them won't. But it all depends on what either your parents can afford, what they're prepared for, what scholarships you can get. Going back to the first question, you have to sit down and have that question. Have that discussion. And so once you've narrowed down to a price tag, you can then look at your options and narrow down your school search. This is what I want to major in, this is what I have, I want a big school, I want a small school. Go visit. Coach was exactly right, you have to get on campus. You can go on as many unofficial visits as you like. And the coach can have interaction with you because you're on campus. It doesn't matter what year you are, if you're a freshman, you want to go on campus, that's great. Contact admissions, admissions will contact us, you can come and meet with us, no problem whatsoever. And you can talk. And the important thing is, and I understand where Steve's coming from, it is we do want to hear from the kids. We do want to hear from you guys. But when it comes down to crunching the numbers, it's going to be all of us. Because you're the ones who are paying the bills. You're the ones who will get the bills. And so make sure you sit down, have that discussion, narrow your options down to 10 schools in junior year. The ones that have contacted you about soccer, the ones that you're interested in, that have you major, that possibly have soccer that you can go to, take a look at them. By the senior year, get it down to your 5, and then you can go take your 5 official visits. Talk about NCAA. You can come down for your 5 official visits, which means you stay the night. Come and stay the night, spend the night with the team. You can actually do in Division 2, and I'm not too sure about Division 3, but you can do the tryout. No, any IA can do the tryout. Anytime. I know Division 1 you can't.
You could be there for a week. You could be there for a week.
Division 1 I don't think you can do a tryout anymore.
No.
So you can come down and try out with the team. And so that will give you a full picture of what it's like. And I think encourage your kids to take visits, go along with them. If you're lucky, the school might put you up in a hotel while they stay on campus. If you're lucky and these guys have the budget. But that's the most important thing. If you're looking in the junior year, it's time to start narrowing down and looking at the numbers.
The same percentage of kids that get a full ride just in soccer money to go to college is only a little bit more than the percentage of kids that go on to play professional. And as you all probably know, that percentage is very, very, very small. A coach, any of these coaches turn around and going, we're going to give you a full ride just in soccer money, is unlikely. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's unlikely.
Example, I did this myself. I copied every single one of these on an email and I said, Dear Coach Rose. Guess what I've just done? Every other coach that's not called Coach Rose, delete. So know your audience. That's the first thing. Second, don't add them on Facebook. I'm getting a request every single week. All right? I'm not adding you. It's not happening because we're not on that relationship.
I think it goes based on the need of the coach and the program. I mean, honestly, right now, for my program, we really don't graduate anybody. All of our starters return. So we can be really specific in regards to who we're trying to bring in for our program. So, I mean, it's just one of those things sometimes, you know. But next year, we're going to graduate 16 boys. So we're going to have to replace a lot. So not only are we looking at kids now, but we're also looking for kids next year.
John?
I'd say like your attitude. So if you've got 100 players and everyone's kind of the same soccer ability, kind of your attitude, are you introducing yourself to the coach? Are you saying like, yes coach, or thank you, or you being nice to your teammates? I think everything kind of goes into that. If me and Ricky are the same kind of soccer ability and he's a nicer person to Danny, Danny's probably going to take more of a welcoming to him than me. I think that's kind of going back to the emails. As you said, if you're on an email saying certain things that aren't probably the best fit, it's probably going to get deleted. Whereas if it's hi coach, like how are you, really interested in the program, is there a chance that we could talk soon? That's something that's going to grab my attention more than what's cracking from.
The way in which you carry yourself is very, very important. And in our club, we've created a culture that says, go and introduce yourself, go and shake hands with the coach, look another man in the eye, or female, be it to the young girls. I think our club has helped create that culture. I hope we have. And so the way in which you carry yourself, especially at big camps like that are 100 kids and they might all be invited to that camp, specifically invited because they are good players, the way in which you carry yourself, the way in which you communicate, that will make you stand out for sure.
Depends
depends on your budget. I mean, right now, because our school's located in Southwest Georgia, Florida's going on right now, and we're 35 minutes north of Tallahassee. I mean, if I can't get a fleet car, I drive my own car to go watch high school games.
Can you expect to see the college coaches at some high school games? Sure, and I think it's a good reminder for the kids when they go into high school season. Don't just think, oh well, I'm not being watched and I'm going to go and play. We go and watch kids all the time as club coaches, and they play a completely different way when they play for their club than what they do playing for me, or for their high school, than what they do when they're playing for a mean club. So I think, yeah, you're always being watched, you're always being monitored, you're always being assessed, whether that be by your high school coach, your college coach, myself, whoever. So
on the girls' side, that's difficult for us to watch high school. The Tennessee high school season is the same season.
I mean, I try to go catch as many games as I can, but it's not always going to be that way. And then with Georgia coming into spring season for high school, 50 kids will email me, Coach, can you come watch my game? Depends on the timeline. If I'm having to drive 3 hours to watch 80 minutes, more than likely I'm probably not going to. So video is always very important. Updated video if you can. You know, streams, links sometimes. I mean, I've seen kids do that, link it in. Hey, Coach, I'm playing. I can go do it. But it's like I said, budget is a big thing in regards to what schools have to work with. You know, not everybody has an unlimited budget. None of us up here have a program like, let's say, University of Alabama football, where you can just swipe a card. It doesn't make a difference. You know, so we have to be strategic.
Now, for us, we're a state school within Tennessee. Would we like to go out and watch high school games? 100% we would love to. Our roster is 24. We've got 20 kids from the state of Tennessee on our roster. If we could come and watch high school games, we would love to, but it is the same season and it's really, really difficult.
Because, you know, if I can get a kid who can get $4,000 from the Hope Scholarship, than, you know, picking a kid from Georgia who I have to give more money to, I'll probably try to get a kid from Tennessee to come and help me with that.
You must, if you're a female, you must play ECNL to get recruited. Said no whatever.
Exactly.
If a kid's good enough, they'll find a place and we'll play.
On the boys' side, that's just an example. On the girls' side, on the boys' side, we don't have a DA in our state. And we've got a kid in our club going to the #1 men's soccer program in the nation. We've got kids from Nashville that don't play anything other than regular club, that are going to Furman, top Division 1 program. Let's go play some ball, yeah.